From Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids, it's time for Prep Bowling on CTN. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bill Hupp, alongside Irondale head coach and Twin Cities Bowling Hall of Famer John Cryer. Two matchups today for you. The first match, Andover against Coon Rapids, and then Coon Rapids will take on Blaine in the second match here at Classic Bowl. And John, it's a battle of two teams very close to each other in the Metro North Central Conference. Andover 5-5 sits in 5th place. Coon Rapids 5-5 as well. They're currently sitting in 3rd place. And as you can see, it's a packed house here. A lot of energy anytime you have a conference meet.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a pretty interesting match. So we got the first one. Pretty well even match. So it's we'll see if the pins want to fall for either one of the teams, get the breaks and pick up some spares and get the W.
The warm-ups just about concluded here. Second annual broadcast of Prep Bowling, and Coon Rapids, a very successful program, has won 2 state championships at the JV level, state champions at the varsity level in 2020, and they currently sit with the 8th highest game average in the state at 189.46, and over the 39th highest game average right now, 172.38. They're, of course, led by the legend Darvin McGurr, high school bowling coach for 12 years. Conference champions recently, took 5th in state as well. As we are all set to get underway. There's Rob DeVries. There's Darvin McGurr, longtime coaching legend for the Huskies, and should be, like you said, John, a pretty even matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see how they how the coaches have the players attack the lanes and see if they see anything the other coach doesn't to maybe get the advantage on the lanes and get a win here.
So just about ready to go here as Alex Darlene, the senior, gets ready to roll for Andover. His high game score this year is 280. High series is 634. And he leaves 1 pin left to pick up his spare. Beautiful strike rolled initially by Mark Vagley. Or excuse me, Matt Vagley. Matt Vagley, a junior. High game of 269, a high series of 698. Here's Darlene, and able to pick up his spare, so that went in and out of the gutter. And that counts, I assume.
Unfortunately, it does not.
It does not
that
count.
will be a missed spare.
Okay.
When the ball hits the gutter and bounces out, basically once the ball hits the gutter, it is deemed a dead ball. So unfortunately, that spare will be not awarded.
So there's no getting out of the gutter in varsity bowling. Here's the sophomore, Nikolai Hirsamaki. High score of 276 and a high series of 706. Young man who is homeschooled, and he's got 3 pins left to clean up. Meanwhile, Kennedy Celine, the freshman, getting ready to roll. And she picks up the strike. Not as Hirsamaki unable to collect his spare. They do not wait too long. They get them and go. And that's how these games fly along.
It's always a good thing for the players to be alert when they're up and ready. That way they're watching their teammates and seeing what the lanes in the playing field are off, and so that way they can get ready to get up there and execute their shot.
Senior Matt Fable, high game score of 279 and a high series of 693. As he's got a little split to deal with. Meanwhile, on the other end, a gutter ball for sophomore Gabe Blake. High game score for him this year, 275. His high series, 652, as Fable looks to pick up his spare. And he's able to get 1. So now it's Gabe Blake's turn after that initial gutter ball. Still has a chance to pick up a spare. unable to do so, but he does knock a few down. 37-35. Coon Rapids leads Andover. Again, they'll face the top team in the conference, Blaine, in their second match of the day. 5 games in a series, of course.
Yep, that is correct. And then the win-loss record for each team is when they win the match. Of course, it just counts for, if they win the best of 5, that just counts for 1 for their records.
Jacob Cox going there, and then a strike picked up on the other end by one of the best bowlers on the team, maybe Cole Granmo, the senior. High game score of 287 this year and a high series of 682 as Cox, one of the co-captains of this Cardinals team, along with senior Gavin DeVries. DeVries will be bowling 5th as Cox able to pick up the spare. Gavin DeVries, co-captain, 2022 second team All-State bowler. As you see right there, Nathan Ewell, the freshman, will go after DeVries. Coach's kid and All-Stater can't quite collect the strike.
Had that pin coming across there, just missed the 10 pin. And actually, as Nathan steps up here, this past weekend we had an event with our MJBT scratch circuit where our CBA bowlers, our adult scratch circuit, teams up with the juniors.
And collects the strike right there. Go on.
And Nathan actually won the boys event this past weekend with his adult partner, Thomas Cleveland.
Wow.
So that was a big step for Nathan there to get that title underneath his belt.
Yeah, just a freshman. High game score of 289 and a high series of 736. DeVries picks up his spare. Tight one so far, 66-65. Obviously 2 straight strikes. We're back to the top of the order with Alex Darlene. Darlene, a regular on the circuit as well. Three straight strikes now for Andover.
Yeah, they're definitely applying the pressure to Coon Rapids. Let's see how they respond.
As Vagley leaves the 10 pin. He'll have to pick that up for his spare. You see on the scoreboard, Andover 4 strikes in this game to just Coon Rapids 1. So it's a 95-84 lead. Coon Rapids with some work to do as Vagley picks up his spare.
Great spare there.
Kennedy Celine was one of those with a strike in her first bowling effort. Some work to do for her spare. Here's Samaki, gets the 10 pin to fall.
There, Messenger finally got it.
It took a little while, but eventually it dropped. And here's Samaki. So 10 frames, 5 games, 1 match, and best of 5. Now, if it's decided, do they still bowl all 5 to?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
they will.
Yep, automatically will bowl all 5 because they get the individual performances by the bowlers. They get graded, I guess you could say, by their fill percentage. So their strikes and spares versus their open frames.
Sophomore Gabe Blake gets the lucky roll with the 7 pin, knocking out the 10. Another strike recorded by the Huskies. Meanwhile, Fable unable to pick up the spare for Coon Rapids. 128-123 as we enter the 9th and 10th frames of game 1. Granmo makes it 2 straight strikes.
Great shot by the setup guy there. That actually puts Coon Rapids down quite a bit there, so let's see if Jaden can answer back. 148-123
with the anchor Nathan Ewell still left to bowl. Jaden Cox able to get the roll with, I believe, the 3-pin, knocking down the 6, and that's a big strike right there recorded for the knocking down the 9. But that's the. I just figured I'd say it's close enough. No one would actually call me on it. But thank you for correcting the record. 10th frame set to start here.
Those pins fly around so fast, it's hard to get the numbers on them right.
Yeah. You say it confidently enough, no one will know the difference.
You got that right. That was a great shot.
Yeah, it was, but he leaves the 10-pin standing. DeVries, one of the best keglers. The German word for bowler. I don't know how
good terminology.
I don't know how frequently it's, Google tells you a lot of things. As DeVries leaves a little bit of meat on the bone there. 175, 147 as Ewell steps up. Trying to pick up his spare. And he will. No problem there. Spun it left to right.
That's a spare there, and mathematically that's going to be a win for Andover for game 1.
Yep, game 1 in the books for Andover. It's just a matter of what the score is as DeVries tries to pick up his spare. And he's able to do so. Spinning shot that makes the final score 177 to 153 in favor of Andover.
Yep, the Leech have one more shot left here in the 10th frame since they got a win.
It's been a while since I've bowled. I forgot.
Yep. In the 10th frame, if you get a strike or a spare, you get a bonus shot. And in the 10th frame, of course, if you get 2 strikes, you get a shot at a 3rd.
Or a turkey. As,
that is correct.
Nathan Ewell knocks down that strike, so pretty impressive from him. He goes spare strike. And DeVries has the dreaded, I believe, 7-10 split or 4-10 split.
That is the 2-10.
2-10.
2-10.
I'm just going to say it and let you correct me.
Yeah, just watching from a coach's standpoint on this pair right now. Lane 2 seems a little bit tighter, so in other words, to keep the terminology pretty simple here, it says the ball gets into the middle part of the lane, you're going to find more oil, and as the ball gets closer to the gutter, it's going to be more dry, so you're seeing the ball change direction a little bit more continuous and more violent. And this lane 2 is definitely tighter in the middle part of the lane, so let's see if Andover picks up on that and see if Coon Rapids can capitalize on lane 1 here with the, looks like the pattern on that lane is a little bit more easier to read.
Cardinals fall in game 1 to Andover 187 to 161 as Matt Fable leads things off here in the second game and leaves a couple pins. Game 2. Meanwhile, a strike recorded there for Andover and Alex Darlene. Fable able to pick up his spare though.
Good solid start by both teams here.
The difference so far, John, it seems like, is that Andover has been able to pick up strikes and Coon Rapids has had more spares.
Correct, yep. And the strikes that Andover's put the strings together brings that score up a lot faster.
Yeah, it sure does. So a little baby split now for Hirsamaki.
This one's going to be a little bit more tougher to pick up. What he's got left up there is the 3, 4, 6, 7 split.
Nice job by Kennedy Celine to pick up the spare. Samaki able to get 2.
Good attempt there.
It's the nice, kind of the fun thing about bowling is that, you know, You want to strike, obviously, but you still have a chance, or always have a chance for redemption if you don't get that.
Yes, absolutely. And the other cool part, of course, is, you know, you could have a bad frame, but you got 4 other teammates that can back you up and help pick you up, get you right back in the match, or even taking a lead.
Each bowler here in the 3rd frame with a pin left. Mitchell and Bagley. Bagley collects his spare. So yeah, the Cardinals, they're making the best of less than ideal circumstances, not getting as many strikes, but at least picking up spares.
Yes.
In most cases.
In this game, spares are very, very, very important.
As Mitchell matches that spare, Jaden Cox and DeVries still in the 4-5 spots for the Cardinals. Cox, an impact bowler last year for Coon Rapids. It's funny, I was watching video of that before I was watching the broadcast from last year, and I recognized a lot of the names. So it's fun to see, you know, how much the kids have matured as Jaden Cox collects his strike.
And being kids, how much they have gotten taller.
Right,
making us adults look shorter.
Yes. I like this address from Granmo. And that's a very comfortable spare, I would say, to pick up, right? Rather than the split, the 7-10 or what have you. To have the 3 in a row, I would imagine.
That is correct. Yep. Usually when they're closer together, the percentages are definitely a lot higher to pick up.
Granmo goes Jersey side and picks up his spare.
Runs the line.
So we're on to the anchors for both teams. Gavin DeVries got 2nd team All-State last year. 2 All-State bowlers for Coon Rapids. Jack Simmer in 2020. As DeVries leaves, not even going to guess which pins those are, but they're consecutive.
That is the 2-8.
The 2-8.
The terminology on those 2 is called the sleeper.
The sleeper, all right. I know a little bowling terminology, but not a lot, as Ewell wishes he'd done better. Yeah,
this lane 2 is definitely going to give these bowlers some fits if they're not careful. That's as the playing field where the lane is, there's actually oil laid out on the lanes, but it's of course invisible to the eye to see. So you got to watch how the ball travels down the lane, and it's definitely a little tricky on this lane 2 where that oil is. So the bowlers will have to navigate, either try to get through it, or they got to go around it to get to the drier boards or closer to the gutter.
DeVries picks up his spares, so we're back to the top of the rotation. Well, we'll see if Ewell can finish in the anchor spot here for Andover. So he looks to match the spare of DeVries, and he does. Now, John, I guess for the bowling neophytes out there, why aren't the lanes oiled the same way, or are they, and it just changes over the course of having that many balls rolling down the wooden structures?
As the lanes are oiled, they are oiled the same. They use an oiling machine that can get it down to millimeters to where the oil is laid down and where it stops at. There probably could be a little bit of topography issue between lane 1 and lane 2, to where it could be just a little bit different, a little bit minute. Another thing to keep in mind as well is up against lane 1, you have a wall. So the air movement down lane between lane 1 is going to be a lot more. It's almost going to be doubled, because the air is going to bounce off that wall and come back towards lane 1, which will make it a little bit drier. So it's the differential between lane 1 and 2 with that airflow is going to make it. It's going to kind of exaggerate it a little bit more for these kids.
And the kids are experienced enough, as Shirasaki gets a nice round of applause after picking up his strike. The kids, or bowlers in general, can sort of tell after a certain point how oiled up or not the lanes are, how dry they are?
That is correct. And if as the ball travels down the lane, majority of the time in the front part of the lane where the ball is being released by the bowler, you're going to find a lot of oil. So the ball is going to skid just like a car tire on ice. And eventually, as the ball travels down the lane, it's going to get to, in general, it's about 40 feet. Your lane is 60 feet long. About 40 feet down is when the oil is going to stop, and then it's dry. So that's when you see that ball change direction and head towards the middle part of head towards the head pin, I guess you could say, just to keep it simple.
Celine picks up a spare. Score right now 124 to 102, but again, Coon Rapids did just pick up a strike as Bagley. Oh, with a nice strike there.
There's a trip 4.
Beautifully done by Matt Bagley, as it was a real nose hit to pick up the strike. Sean Mitchell, the senior, his high game score this year, 299, which I would think as a bowler has to be maddening that you were one pin away from 300. But yeah, no doubt a 300 game is in his future.
I would guess so, yes. It's you get to that last shot, we're going for perfection, and the nerves are definitely going.
Oh, I'm sure. It's so funny, too, watching these kids, because none of them celebrate a strike like, or very, very, very rarely do they celebrate a strike like the average bowler would do, certainly like I would do, as Mitchell picks up his spare.
But it's still a great rewarding feeling to knock him down in one shot.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to tell me. At least a fist pump from me. But my strikes are few and far between, so maybe it's just more par for the course. Jaden Cox, someone who can pile up strikes, 2 straight for Coon Rapids. Cox trying to make it a turkey. And he can't. Still some work to do for his spare. Granmo responds with a strike of his own.
That was a good shot there.
They needed that, as well as was trailing anyway, as we head to the 10th frame. 161 to 140. Big shot here for Jaden Cox. Cardinals do not want to go down 2 games to none.
Yeah, this is a big conversion. In the sport of bowling, this is probably the hardest spare to convert.
The rare spare, and he's unable to pick it up, as the spin of the ball, it seemed like just took it away from the pins there.
Correct, yep, because you want to get the ball as close as you can to the gutter, because you need that angle for the ball to drive through and still carry the 9-pin, that's the pin in the back, to make the ball get that pin. That's what makes it so difficult for that spare.
Here's Ewell with his team leading 161 to 144, and he's still got a pin left. As Gavin DeVries, the senior co-captain, with a chance to maybe steal one back for his team. They trail it, though, 179 to 144. Again, that's the second time that Gavin DeVries has had that.
It seems, yeah, for the ball that he's using right now, it seems like it's a little bit too weak for the pattern that to get the performance that he needs. I think he's probably going to have to do a combination of probably ball up and slow his speed down, so that way the ball can respond better to the pattern that's out there.
And again, what did you call, John, the situation he's got right there?
It's called the 2-8 sleeper.
The sleeper, that's right. And he picks up his spare, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It looks like this one's going to end, John, I believe 179 to 154.
Yep, and if
reading that correctly?
Correct, and if Gavin strikes here, their final score will be 164.
Okay. So Andover has won. It's just a matter of what the final score will be.
Correct.
Huskies then just need to get one of the last 3 games to take this match. DeVries leaves the 10-pin. And so the final score, 179 to 163. Andover takes game 2. So the switch in lanes did not help Coon Rapids. But we see, John, all the kids using a towel to sort of shine up that bowling ball, or some of the kids anyway. What, as we see here in the background, Darlene doing that, what does that do to the bowling ball? Why are the kids doing that?
As the ball is released and travels down the lane, of course, that's where the oil is. So what happens is it leaves a ring on the ball. It's called a track flare. So a lot of the oil is still on the ball, and what they use the towel for is to wipe that oil off the ball, so that way they can give the track of the ball more cleaner surface, so that way it can grab to the lane and change direction and get more strikes.
Well, Alex Darlene, that's exactly what he got. 3rd straight time that he has started a game with a strike. And meanwhile, Matt Fable trying to answer, leaves the 2-pin. So he's got to pick up his spare, but that's, again, an instance where they get out to a big lead as Fable unable to pick up the spare. And so Coon Rapids, like the previous 2 games, falling behind early.
Yes,
But momentum, I don't know. Momentum seems like it would be a thing in terms of picking up strikes. Do you notice that, or have you experienced that, John?
That is a huge thing, and especially what they call this is the Baker format of bowling, because momentum is so big. You know, you get your here. You know, example. This is kind of a momentum change right here, unfortunately.
Nico Hiramasaki.
Yeah, Nico gets a break by going Brooklyn to get the strike, and you know, and your opponent's got a split up there, so that's a momentum change here.
Baby split right now here for Mitchell, and he doesn't get anything else. So.
Yep, and now your momentum again here is, I mean, you could have a huge swing right here. If Matt can put a strike up on the board, you definitely got to give Coon Rapids here some credit to get going.
Vaguely does pick up a strike. Halfway to a ham bone.
That's true.
As Gabe Blake rolls the rock for Andover. And he leaves the 9-pin. 6-pin standing. It's just going to be a bit now where I intentionally give things somewhat wrong. My eyesight's never been good. So that's part of it. But he does pick up the spare, so a nice job. John just helpfully diagrammed the bowling pin order. We're in game 3 of match number 1. Don't forget, after this, Coon Rapids will be hosting Blaine. Game 3. Game 3 of match number 1. What did I say, game 2?
Nope, you said game 3.
Game 3, yeah.
Yep.
Game 3 of match number 2. Match number 1, that's what I thought.
Ouch. That was a great
shot. And he left the 7-pin standing. So Granmo's been really good today. He's picked up several strikes.
That was a great shot, just a bad reward there.
Yeah. There is, it feels like an element of luck.
There is. Yeah, I mean, you're throwing a round object and you're trying to knock down 10 round pins. So, yeah, some weird things can happen.
Of course, as is customary, each team wearing the normal jerseys. Very colorful with the slacks. And/or optional skort.
Yep, the girls are allowed to wear skirts.
As Granmo looks to pick up his spare. And he's able to do so. Feels like the bowling balls are also more vibrant and colorful than ever before.
Yes, there are. There's so many bowling balls out there to choose from. You know, all the companies that come out with their great equipment. But yeah, there's a lot of different flashes to different colors to see him go down lane. As we saw Jaden's go down the lane. Actually, here's his the outer surface of his ball is actually clear. It's actually see-through.
That's pretty cool. And it's just to pick up the spare there. As Nathan Ewell with his first turn of game 3. First frame. Kind of an odd, what is that, the The 4.96?
That is correct.
All right, I'm learning. Big opportunity here, though. And a strike.
Great shot here by Gavin.
For Gavin DeVries. That's a big strike indeed. 3 of the 5 bowlers for Coon Rapids in game 3 with strikes in their first turn through the rotation. Rotation? I don't even know if that's a thing.
We bowl a lot of these tournaments as adults, and some of the terms that we've used is the front half of the game and the back half of the game.
So you will try to pick up a difficult spare, and he leaves a pin short, so.
Heck of a try there. That's pretty difficult, and that's a good effort right there.
Tough split. Coon Rapids leads at 87-69. The front half of game number 3. And another strike, and a big one picked up by senior Matt Fable.
That's a good shot. Definitely made an adjustment from his first frame.
But nice job by Alex Dahlin to respond with a strike of his own. What kind of adjustments, John, can bowlers make frame to frame?
What they can do is definitely watch all the balls traveling down the lane. If you're going to catch too much of the head pin, definitely talking as a right-handed bowler. So if they catch too much of the head pin here, what they can do is move their feet to the left, so that way they can keep the ball in the oil longer to make it skid down the lane. So that way it's not hitting the head pin so heavily.
Mitchell leaves the 7-4 for his spare. Golai here, Sumaki trying to pick up the spare, and he leaves the, I believe that's the 9 pin.
3 pin.
The 3 pin.
3 pin.
The depth perception is so difficult.
It definitely is, especially when you got these sleepers like we had that 2-8, we got a 3-9. Even one of the other more unusual sleepers is the 1-5.
And a good spare picked up by Mitchell. Sean Mitchell, the senior. One of 3 seniors in the rotation for Andover in this match. Talked about it on last year's broadcast. You just love this sort of ambient noise in a bowling alley. It's just kind of constant and sort of just becomes almost a soundtrack, a sporting soundtrack. And it's one of the best out there, in my opinion.
It is. Hearing the pins crackling.
Don't disagree.
And there's kids out there that have just so much power, and it sounds just like an explosion down there.
For sure, as Bagley picks up his spare. And that's something he's done. He had 1 strike today, but he's also done a nice job of just picking up the spare when it's not there as a strike.
Yep, he's for his position that that was a great pickup there.
Wow.
That was awesome.
Incredible 4-10 split. Blake picks it up.
Great spare
Gets
there.
The spare. And Andover trailing 142 to 117 with 2 frames left. Coon Rapids trying to stay alive here in this first match.
And I was going to say here with Matt Bagley, definitely making his spares and staying solid in that 8 position. And for where he's at in his lineup, that's what he's supposed to do, is get ready to set up his setup man, which is the 4-9. And generally your anchor bowler is your best bowler at the 5 and 10 position.
Granmo has been super impressive today, and he leaves the 6-pin standing, but Jake Cox with a difficult 5-8-10 spare to try to pick up right here. Unable to do so. It says something about how good these bowlers are as high school kids, that they're disappointed, and generally you don't see them leave much more than 1 pin standing.
Yeah, it's they're pretty well consistent. But, the coaches definitely, by seeing that, are definitely putting in their time with their kids and making them perform better, and definitely learning more about the sport as well.
158, 136 as the 10th frame begins, and Gavin
That's a great shot.
Collects a strike. So coming up big in the anchor spot 168 to 136 now. Coon Rapids in game number 3.
That was actually quite a big shot here by Gavin, because that pretty much really close seals the deal for this game for the Cardinals. Because if Nathan can strike out here, he's going to shoot 176. So that means Gavin here is going to need 9 and 2 balls to shut out Andover. And actually, with Nathan not striking, the Coon Rapids is going to take the win on this game.
So the Cardinals get one back and stay alive here in this match. Gavin DeVries hoping to pad the score. Always want to end on 3 strikes if you can, and he's got 2.
That'd be great. Again, keep that momentum going for your team. You're down 2-1, and you know you got to press a little bit and really force the other team's hand.
Ewell looking to pick up the spare here to end game 3. Unable to do so. That was a tricky one. I believe it was the 5-8-9. So his game is
2-4-8. That was a 2-4-8. Yep.
152 will be the final score for Andover. DeVries can't make it 3 straight. No turkey for him, but Coon Rapids does take game 3 by the final score of 185 to 152.
I kind of looked too like on that 12 shot for Gavin. He kind of placed his feet a little bit differently. He made a small move on the lane just to kind of see if the lane's offering something different for a reaction, or if not, definitely probably trying to test it for his teammates so he can give him some information and tell him, you know, hey, can't play here. Let's go to a different area down the lanes.
And big credit to senior Matt Fable, because he really started things off with that key early strike. And just in general, it seemed like Coon Rapids racked up more strikes in that game.
They did, yes.
That led them to the pretty comfortable 33-pin win. As Fable begins things here in game number 4 and leaves a tough one right there.
That was a great shot, and then leaving a solid 9-pin like that is a real bummer. That's a great shot.
Meanwhile, here the 5-pin left by Darlene. Started all 4 games so far for Andover. Andover will face Spring Lake Park in match number 2. And as we said, Coon Rapids will face off against Blaine, who are the top dogs in the conference this year. Spare picked up by Fable, which again, you know, and especially in the bottom part of the rotation, that's all you can ask of those bowlers.
Right. Make good quality shots, and you're leaving stuff that's very makeable to get the spares. Keep the momentum going for your teammates.
Darlene picks up the spare there. Samaki.
Oh, wait a minute. Almost had it.
One went down.
Had a late faller of the 6-pin. Almost fell into the 3.
The 3-pin remains standing as Kennedy Celine back in the rotation for this one, and she starts it off with and pulls the gritty out.
Quality shot there.
And quality celebration to celebrate the strike. Spare picked up here in frame number 2 as Gabe Blake, the sophomore, gets it rolling. And a strike, 2 straight strikes now for Andover. Good job by Matt Bagley, though, to answer. Bagley, 269 score.
Looks like we're going to have ourselves a dogfight here.
Yeah.
Everybody's dialed in and ready to go.
Yeah, starting to see the strikes and spares rolling. Bagley, a member of both JV state championship teams, had to feel pretty good, and he's earned his way into the varsity rotation. So now fixing the scoreboard here.
Yep, Bagley had thrown and got a strike, and just the score monitor didn't register it, so they just got to input the strike here.
So 3 straight strikes rolled, and a guy stepping up who's certainly capable of a strike of his own in Cole Granmo.
Yeah, he's been solid all day long.
Solid once again.
Great shot.
Just
there,
leaving
yes.
the 10-pin.
Some people call it for a right-hander, that's the nightmare pin. It can be pesky at
because
times.
Because it doesn't fit your shot shape, right? Like
Correct.
much like golf.
Right.
A sport that I'm a little more familiar with than bowling. Here's Jaden Cox in the 4-hole. He leaves the 10-6. It is a tough one, but Granmo, veteran that he is, manages to knock that one down. This is the same conference meet that we broadcast last year. Same matchups between teams. Cardinals almost completed a stirring comeback in that second match last year as Cox picks up his spare. 79-69, Coon Rapids trails it. Two teams, again, very close to each other in conference, both 5-5 in the Metro North Central.
This is, and for conference-wise, this is probably one of the strongest conferences that Minnesota offers. So we got a lot of good bowlers, a lot of good teams.
How are, what are the differences? Because last year there were 2 classes. Now there are 4 for state championships, in terms of state championships. Wow, a spare from Nathan Ewell.
They call that a backdoor strike.
Backdoor strike for Ewell as he shrugs his shoulders. That looked like the 5 hitting the 2, hitting the 1. And meanwhile, a nice answer for Gavin DeVries.
Great ball.
Strikes are flying left and right now.
Yeah, they changed the conferences this year more to geographical location. We used to have a tournament called the Super Regional. It was a postseason for some of the, I'm trying to rephrase this the best I can, by their records that they would get invited to. So they didn't actually necessarily have to win their conference, but they get invited back to. And then a Super Regional to the state tournament. So they've bypassed the Super Regional so that now 4 teams make the state tournament.
4 straight strikes bowled by both teams as Darlene answers Fable's strike.
Yeah, this is going to be a big match here.
We might see our highest scoring output if things continue like this. The pins were teetering, but they stayed up. What I was going to ask you though, is there a real difference in terms of class and the size of the school and whatnot with bowling, and or do you have some small schools that have a good number of solid bowlers as well?
It's a tough call. It's a lot of mix in there. There's some smaller schools that do have some pretty high caliber bowlers.
Because I would think that unlike soccer and football, where it's more of a numbers game and you just got to find 12, 11 good players and you have more options when you have 3,000 kids. Bowling, it's a smaller team, so I didn't know. That was my question, was does that end up making a difference as Kennedy Seelan picks up the spare?
I would agree with that, yes. It does, definitely does come into play there. And a small part of it also is your coach, how much time do they spend with the kids to get them to improve, kind of put them on the right track to excel at the sport.
Back and forth these two teams go. It's very close, 145 to 153. A little bit of work to do to pick up the spare here for Blaine.
This will be interesting for Andover because the terminology for this one is called the super washout.
Okay.
So the only thing that kind of hurt a little bit here for Gabe on this shot is he got a 5 count. So the next ball, once you have a spare, your next ball, your count, your first ball, how many you knock over makes a big difference. By him getting 5, say versus 9, so his team, they just lost 4 pins of count.
Okay.
So, and now, which makes it difficult to pick up the spare. So technically that type of frame with that low of a count and missing the spare, it's almost like you're losing a frame and a half of score, which is unfortunate.
Yes, that's a lot. 158, 155 as we begin the 9th and 10th frames of game number 4. Jaden Cox,
again,
talking about his first frame.
Talking about momentum again. Here's your change.
And he picks up a strike in due fashion as Granmo can't answer. Just just leaving that 8-pin standing. Granville looking to equal 175-167 the score, as Granville hoping to at least pick up the spare.
So as it stands, we'll give Gabe the spare here. Going into the 10th frame, if Gavin here can get 2 strikes in the 10th frame, he'll actually shut out the game, and Coon Rapids will get another one.
That would tie the match heading into the 5th and decisive game. Is good bet to give Granville, especially with that left side of attack with his right hand. I don't know actually if we have, I haven't noticed anyway, John, if we have a left-handed bowler in this match.
We actually do not. We have all right-handers today. Oh, well, on this match, sorry.
Yes. DeVries, still a little bit of work to do. A 7.95, I think.
5.78.
5.78, okay.
Yeah, this is actually
so
very odd, very odd leave.
189, 168 as Nathan Ewell takes the anchor. He would love to have picked up a strike there, but instead he leaves the 4. He's got the 4 left for his spare.
Now the way that I see Gavin looking back at his coach, this is kind of an interesting spot here, because if Gavin goes for it and picks it up, they're in the front run to win the match. If he doesn't convert, and let's just say if he gets 2, that will force Nathan to make his spare and actually still throw a good shot to win the game. So it's kind of a crucial spot where Gavin's at right now. So now he got 2. So now he's forced Nathan to make the spare and still throw a good shot to win the game.
193, 186. Ewell trying to pick up an all-important spare right here. Able to do so.
Great job.
Sets up a very important shot here with Andover trailing Coon Rapids 193 to 187.
So he'll need 6 on this ball, will be a tie, 7's a win, and 5 is a loss for Andover.
We'd love nothing more than to end it emphatically with a strike.
Absolutely, yep.
To win the game and the match for Andover. Big shot by Ewell. That's going to be enough. 196-193, the final score. Andover takes game 4, and Coon Rapids falls to Andover 3-1. Now they'll still bowl this 5th and final game, although the match has been decided in favor of Andover. Coon Rapids will fall to 5-6 on the season. A nice roll there in that third decisive 10th frame for Ewell.
Yes, he definitely came up solid for his team. Being in the anchor spot, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Throw a quality shot, get the spare if not a strike, and throw another quality shot.
Andover takes games 1, 2, and 4 in very dramatic fashion, specifically in game 4. And bowl game 5 just to see how it ends. But the Huskies down the Cardinals so far as we start game 5.
And this is still going to be an important game for Coon Rapids. Yes, you may have lost the match, but the thing is you still have one more match to go. So you still want to try to build up your momentum, keep your spirits as high, get your spirits as high as you can going into your next match, so that way you're focused and you're ready to go.
And you're still trying to pad that team score as well. And for the 3rd straight game, Matt Fable starts it off with a strike. He's on fire.
He's doing very well.
And he is really setting the tone nicely at the top of the lineup for Coon Rapids. Dolly not able to pick up the spare, but not a bad effort. Again, that's a perfect example of what I was talking about, John, before, where it's amazing. These kids are such good bowlers that when they leave, they basically only ever leave 1 pin, it seems like.
Yes. Yep, it's the modern game nowadays, and well, I guess more of a cardinal rule of this game is spares are just so important in the game. Accuracy is so important, and as you can see, a lot of the deliveries by some of these kids now are with 2 hands. where, back in the day of your 90s, 80s, two-handed was pretty much unheard of until probably about the late 90s. And actually, there was a couple of pros that went, went thumbless, I guess you could say. But now that the game has picked up and it's revolutionized about all these kids by throwing two hands or again, thumbless, it's quite remarkable. And it's definitely brought more attention and brought more competitors to the sport.
Which is never a bad thing, as a strike collected there by Matt Vagley. You look at the conference standings, and Coon Rapids has 3 bowlers right now in all conference positions, in DeVries and Hirosaki and Fable just outside of the all conference spots. Jaden Cox also in there as well in terms of the average. What does it mean when it says opens?
So what they're rated on is their strikes and spares versus their opens. So their total frames, and then take out. We'll take Jeremy here. He's in the lead for the MOP award right now.
Jeremy Christensen from Blaine.
Right. So he's had a total of 100 frames bowled this season. And out of those 100 frames, he's had 56 strikes and 35 spares.
Yep.
And only 9 opens out of 100 frames.
So 9 opens, meaning when he didn't get a strike or a spare?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. If he left anything left on the deck after 2 shots.
I see. Okay. Well, Coon Rapids has collected. They've gone strike, spare, strike here to start game 5. And again, not for nothing. It's total score and momentum, all those things. There's a reason. Despite the match having been decided, you still want to see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that's the 8-5-3 that remains standing for Cox. So a little bit of work to do for his spare.
1-2-4.
The 1-2-4.
1-2-4.
I was just off a row.
It's that depth perception again.
I'm old, John, and I can't see like I used to. Carl Granville picks up another strike. In terms of the all-conference positions, the only one coming into the conference battle today that was in the top all-conference positions really were Nathan Ewell, Gabe Blake, and 16. As Jaden Cox picks up his spare, still shaking his head. It seems like the best bowlers and most of the bowlers here, they have very high expectations for themselves.
They do. He just wasn't happy on that first ball delivery. He got a little bit too far to the right and it just quite didn't make the corner. In other words, come around change direction to get to the head pin. Kind of like Nathan's here, unfortunately. He got it in and kept it in that oil. And you keep that ball in the oil too long, and again, it's just like a car tire on ice. It does not want to pick up.
It's a great analogy by you, John. It totally can visualize it from there as DeVries leaves the 8 pin. But Ewell, just a freshman, and he's a big kid. So, lots of room for him to grow, and coming off that big win over the weekend.
Yeah, he's going to have a really bright career ahead of him. He's, I actually worked with his grandfather, so I have seen him come up a little bit and heard some stories about him, but he's very well dedicated to this sport and really, really enjoys it.
DeVries picks up the spare. 89-57 here in game number 5 in favor of Coon Rapids. The Rapids football team hosting the Blaine Bengals tonight. Have that for you here on CTN later this evening. Joe and Howie on the call, as usual, as Fable leaves the 9 pin. Rapids still with a comfortable 107-61 lead. Alex Darlene was one of those bowlers who participated in the match last year, and he picks up the strike. Fable answers with the spare. Second strike of the game for Andover. Rapids thus far through 6 frames has gone strike, spare, 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 spare. Oh, and that was nearly another strike. The 5 pin teetering
Yeah, that was a good shot there. He got an unfortunate break, and terminology there, he left a ripper 5.
A ripper 5. I'm going to have to write all of these down to have any chance to remember them, as Mitchell answers with a strike. Trying to get to Andover back in this one. They've already won. They're leading 3-1 here in the 5th game. 126-91 as Nico Hiramasaki, sophomore who is homeschooled, picks up the spare. He just loves, I talked about it with you before the meet started, but it's just so much fun to see the camaraderie. And a lot of these kids through the various circuits know each other, right?
Yes.
They've gotten to know each other, as it seems like it's a pretty tight-knit community. Bagley with another strike.
Yeah, this game is that Coon Rapids is bowling right now is definitely a good statement for themselves as a team to give them momentum, because right now they are, I won't put the cardinal jinx on them, but let's just say it's a solid game. I won't say it until the game is over.
2 frames remaining, 147 to 120. Spare there for Blake. Gabe Blake, 16th in the conference standings. You said one of the better bowling conferences in the state, the Metro and the Central. Andover now has won 29 games and lost 25. Rapids looking to pick up their 32nd win of the season. Tough split there. The dreaded, what, 7-9? I think?
4-9.
4-9.
4-9.
Depth perception. 163 to 138. You know, it shows you on the screen here, too, digitally. There it is. Terrific Ted LaRue doing the honors.
Good try there by Jaden.
Only so much you can do in that instance.
And I put the jinx on, so I apologize for Jaden on that one. What I was referring to was Coon Rapids actually had a clean game. They had strikes and spares going with no opens. So
yeah,
I guess I'll be responsible for that open, for bringing that up.
John Cryer jinx. It's a thing. It's a thing. 165 to 139. Anchor leg now in game number 5. Gavin DeVries, a little red and black momentum, starts things off with a strike.
That was a good shot there by Gavin. A little retribution from his last frame. Actually, with that strike, they just shut out Andover for this game.
Now, Gavin is rubbing a towel on his head or something. Are you allowed to dry your hands as well?
Yes, you can apply a dry towel to pretty much the ball or your hand, whatever you choose. Just can't use any type of substances. 2 very common substances is like a rosin bag, which will help you stick.
Yep.
Some people like just to hang in the ball a little bit longer before delivery. Or what they call is easy slide. So almost pretty much like a baby powder is what it's like.
Okay.
But it's very potent, so it can be very effective.
7-4 standing, left standing for DeVries as Ewell looks to pick up his spare. The sleeper, I believe.
You got it.
All right, I'm learning. The sleeper left for Ewell.
Solid cover.
You got it. But a great way to end it for Coon Rapids, particularly if DeVries can pick up the spare here. Just one open frame at that point in this game, and he does. It's a good setup for a right-handed shot, like you said.
Yes, yes.
So Andover, Coon Rapids rather, going to win this one. 85.
Another solid shot there by Nathan.
To 166. But Andover takes the match 3 games to 2. So there you see it. Coon Rapids falls to Andover 3-2 despite taking game 5. Take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have Coon Rapids and Blaine as the Cardinals try to take down the conference leaders here on CTN. Back here at Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids, Bill Hupp and John Cryer, Irondale head coach and Twin Cities Bowling Hall of Famer John Cryer, as Coon Rapids and Blaine get set to begin, and they'll be underway with Matt Fable, and he leaves one of the pins standing, so he'll have
Leaves a four pin.
Leaves the 4-pin standing. A little work to do for his spare. Andover defeated Coon Rapids in the first match 3-2, and now it's Blaine that's set to go. As Caleb Lindstrom, number 99, takes a roll.
Nope, we got Joey Lindstrom. We got two Lindstroms here. We got Joey leading off.
Excuse me, Joey Lindstrom, Caleb Lindstrom, 99. Joey Lindstrom will be one. Jack Place will be in the 6th frame as Lindstrom looks to pick up his spare. He's got 4, 2, 1, and 10 remaining.
This one's called the washout.
As Nico Hirmasaki delights his aunts and uncles down in Australia who are watching us on YouTube by picking up a strike. He is red hot the last couple games.
Cameron Olsen there with a solid shot.
Number 66, Cameron Olsen, doing the honors. Brings up Matt Bagel. Game of 269, a high series of 698. 30-19, Coon Rapids out to an early lead. Blaine sitting right now with an 8-2 record, first place in the Metro North Central Conference. They've won 27 games, lost 22, and tied 1. Currently have the 10th highest game average in the state with 187.64.
This will be definitely one of the teams to watch.
And I remember
postseason.
Caleb Lindstrom last year. Was he not the state champion as a freshman? I believe he was last year. Sophomore now.
I think you're correct on that one.
I want to say he was the state champ as a freshman. Bowling in the number 3 spot now as Vagel picks up his spare. Coon Rapids 5 and 6, 3rd place in the Metro North, trying to bounce back after losing to Andover in the first match. Lindstrom with just the 7-pin remaining. And that's no problem at all for his shot shape.
Pretty solid spare. Those right-handers love those left side spares. They can just make that ball hook right to it, just like a magnet.
Brings up Jaden Cox, the co-captain. To 300 this year, high series of 814.
That's a pretty remarkable set. That's pretty good.
Yeah, bad at all. He's one of the more serious and expressive bowlers we've seen here today. Picture of focus here. Nearly had the sleeper plus the 10, but instead it's an 8-10 split.
210.
210.
We got a 210.
Oh, that dreaded depth perception. Braylon Almberg sent to bowl number 16, and he knocks them all down. 10 pins, 10 for the strike. 10 pins up, 10 pins down.
Pretty darn good.
And it's heat on it, too. Tough split to pick up here, and Cox
close.
can't do it. Shake of the head from him as we're nearing the midway point of the first game. And obviously, Jeremy Christensen.
They nicknamed him JJ.
Gavin DeVries know each other. Jeremy Christensen Jr., JJ, came in 56 strikes out of 100 frames on the season. Leaves himself with the sleeper, though. Has picked up 35 spares. Right now, if the season were to end today, he'd be the MOP of the Metro North Central Conference. Gavin DeVries, the anchor for Coon Rapids as usual, able to collect the strike. Decisive from DeVries.
Got a little break roll in the 2-8 on that shot there, and see if they take advantage of it.
Christensen able to pick up the spare. But advantage Coon Rapids. 79-76 Blaine is the.
Actually, if Matt can throw a strike here, they're going to take the lead.
Yep. Unable to do so. Leaves the 3-10.
The baby split.
Hit the baby split. Big pink ball here for Jack Pitt Place.
This is a good young and up-and-coming bowler. They have we have during the summertime over at Blainebrook in Blaine. They have mini tournaments during the week on Wednesday nights, and I actually had the liberty of bowling with that young man one night. And he's one kid that really enjoys the sport, and he wants to learn a lot. And he's come a long way. And hopefully he sticks with it.
Very youthful looking Cameron Olson. Now, how common is it, John, for teams to roll 6 in a rotation?
It can be common.
Okay.
It's kind of a good thing, because if you got a player that's, you know, just having a little difficulty reading the lanes or getting just picking up their spares, you can always swap another player in there to get that momentum back going for your team.
How about Nikolai Hirmasaki? Just collected his second strike of game number 1. He has been on fire lately.
Looks like he's determined this set. He really wants to get going with his team and take over and get a win here. Matt here got a nice Brooklyn shot. Got the double up there for his team.
Caleb Lindstrom now up. St. Francis battling in front of us here in lanes number 1 and 2 against Anoka and St. Francis. Lindstrom with still a little bit of work to do for his spare. 143, 124, but Coon Rapids has gotten 2 strikes consecutively, going for that turkey. Haven't seen many of them so far in these matches.
Yeah, it's they've been kind of a little harder to come by today, but that first match we had on 1 and 2, that pair got pretty tricky. So I would guess that this pair is going to be a little bit more consistent. Score's going to be a little bit higher here on 5 and 6.
And now, when you say pair, you mean the lanes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. They usually when they call a pair for like 1 and 2, or on the same pair, 3 and 4 are also a pair. So the set of lanes that the kids bowl on for their match.
So Braylon Almberg leaves the 10-pin. Almberg, one of 3 Bengal bowlers in the top 9 in the all-conference, or top 10, I should say, in the all-conference places. Christensen came into today's meet in the MOP spot. Almberg was 6th, and Caleb Lindstrom was 9th. So
Yep.
Jaden Cox looks for a little redemption in his second turn. And he almost gets it. Ultimately leaves the 5-pin.
Yeah, he looked like he got a little slow on that one, and he got it to the dry part of the lane a little too fast on that shot. That's kind of why the ball looked like it overhooked on him.
Alberg with that bright blue ball matching the blue jerseys of the Bengals.
Call it the Blaine spare ball, I guess.
166-157. Cox with a nice spinner. You love just how it kind of dances along the gutter, doesn't fall in, and has enough English to come back.
Almost looks like Massey on a cue ball.
Yeah, well said. Christensen and DeVries, two of the better anchors in the state, when you think about it. They'll bowl the 10th frame here and close out game number 1. Christensen starts things off with a strike. Came in with a pretty good strike percentage. He came in 50%, 56% strike percentage.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And DeVries answers with a strike of his own. I wonder, John, if kind of the rubbing the ball down with the towel too is almost like a batter, you know, kind of with a routine as well.
Yes.
Sort of preparing for that next frame.
Yep, that pre-shot routine, definitely.
And he gets the lucky bounce there as pin number 6 knocked over pin 10. 2 straight strikes for Christensen. Breeze can't quite answer. He leaves the 8 pin standing. Make that the 4 pin before I get corrected.
You got it.
Head coach Julie Saba in her 5th season in charge of the Bengals. $196-182 is Christensen. It's his 3rd roll. Can't quite get it there to the 8-10 split. Nope, make that the 4-10 split.
Look, that was a ball change too, so it looks like he was trying something a little bit different to see if he could get a better reaction on the lanes.
204-182. Big spare here. DeVries picks it up. So he'll have one more, or will that be it?
That will be it. Yep.
Okay.
Gavin one strike spare here in the 10th.
So Christensen basically carries his team to a come from behind victory in game number 1. Blaine switch lanes and move over to lane 5 as the Bengals pick up their 28th win of the season, game 1. Caleb Lindstrom will lead things off, 204-183. You see the final score there. Or that's not Caleb Lindstrom. I made that mistake last time. Joey Lindstrom, his brother. Caleb is taller and less blonde. Do you see that a lot, John, with families and brothers and siblings that bowl together because it's a family affair?
Usually. Yeah, it's it seems to be a lot more common nowadays to have them siblings, brothers, or even cousins bowling together on the same team, or or just in the same conference, depending on, of course, where they live if they're cousins.
Right. He's able to pick up the spare there. Go here, Masaki. Trying to keep his hot streak going. 2 strikes in game number 1. Make it 3.
Solid strike.
Got a turkey in this match. Nicely done by Hirosaki. Cameron Olson with a little bit of work to do, 7-4-10 left.
Yeah, this one's going to be a pretty difficult spare to make, also known as a split. To convert it, you're going to have to take the 4 pin, which is the one more towards the middle, and you got to slide it all the way to the right to knock out the 10 pin. Or it can also happen to just get a bounce out from the pins. Pins are pretty lively, and get something to bounce out and hit that 10 pin.
Yeah, Yeah, not much you can do there. He did about as much as you can. And I would think in that instance, you're trying to just get as many pins down as you can.
Yeah, definitely in this in the timing of the game and in the timing of the match, the smart play is just to get the two, get as much wood as you can.
Bagel leaves the 6-3 standing.
Definitely from that first match for Coon Rapids, it'll be interesting to see how they respond this game, especially going up against a tougher contender of Blaine, to see if they can definitely get some quick momentum going and try to get a W out of this game.
You definitely don't want to go down 2-0 like they did in the last game, last match against Andover.
That's definitely a high mountain to climb to try to get yourself back into the match.
Nice spare picked up by Vagel. Lindstrom responds with a spare of his own.
Good spare there.
It feels like these two teams are pretty close, and certainly saw that borne out in the first game.
Yeah, they're pretty evenly matched. Looks like the experience will have to edge Blaine here a little bit.
Raylan Almberg picks up a strike.
Good shot there, Tomahawk 4.
He's been red hot for Blaine as well. Jaden Cox now with a little bit of pressure to try to answer that. Blaine leading Coon Rapids 56-39. Of course, these two schools, like we mentioned, meeting on the football field tonight, a couple miles away at Blaine or at Coon Rapids High School. We'll have that broadcast for you tonight as Jaden Cox answers with a strike.
It's a great shot there by Jaden. Good answer back. Keeps him in the lead by 3 pins so far in this match, in this game.
Now it's Christensen's turn in that anchor spot.
Solid shot
He
there.
certainly does.
That's why he's ranked #1 in his conference right now.
J.J. Christensen, and if you're ranked #1 in this conference, you're a pretty darn good bowler.
Yes, definitely. And even, I'm not exactly sure in the state rankings, but I'm sure he's up there in the top 10.
DeVries tries to answer, can't quite. Leaves the 4-pin hanging out there. In between matches, of course, you were showing Rob DeVries, head coach of Coon Rapids, the picture of Gavin and your son when they won a tournament when they were, what, 11 years old?
Oh my gosh, that was back in 2015. I'm just looking back at the picture. So that would put them around 10 or 11 for both of them. Yeah, my son would have been 11 and Gavin would have been 10. They won a city tournament doubles title together.
Pretty cool. And like we said, small world. Texting the coaches of other staffs, pictures from back in the day. And
speaking small world, and Gavin was half his size then.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously been a tremendous bowler since he was a wee lad.
Yes.
As Fagel, the 2, the 8, and the 10 hanging out there.
It's a little bit that's gonna test his skills here. It's another difficult split.
Place with that all pink ball. Ooh, nearly got that. That one's teetering.
9.5. 9.5.
Yeah, exactly. It's impressive though because the kids, it doesn't seem like react one way or another. They're fairly poised with their reactions no matter how the pins go. Maybe that just comes from bowling in thousands of frames.
It definitely is. During the regular season, you don't see too many amped up kids, raw emotional kids. There are a few out there, but definitely when you get into the postseason and
every pin matters.
You see the kids, the teammates cheering. You even got the parents behind them, which is a great thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, every striker spare, you're going to tell around the bowling center in the postseason.
Nice job again by Hirmasaki. Another strike racked up. He's on fire. As we say g'day to his family watching this match back in Australia. Thanks for joining us on YouTube.
I think they're getting ready to go to work right now from what we heard about the time.
Yeah, probably finishing up their Marmite on toast or whatever they're having for breakfast, and maybe some porridge. A little bowling with your breakfast. That's never a bad way to start the day.
And it's Friday there. Happy Friday to them.
Yeah, exactly. They're starting their weekend early. 123-105. That could be critical right there. Blaine can't pick up the spare. So, given an opportunity for Coon Rapids here with these final couple frames.
Yeah,
put the pressure on.
Matt Vogley can put a strike up here. They're going to take the lead.
Vaguely does.
They're going to take the lead right now as it stands. They're in the lead by 2.
Vaguely makes it 2 straight strikes. He's formed a pretty potent combination with Hirmasaki. They do lead it 125 to 123, but some good bowlers left in this Blaine lineup, including Caleb Lindstrom. Just records a strike of his own.
Great answer there. Great answer. You could have a big momentum swing right there, and he just kind of made that back to even keel for this match.
Baby-faced assassin. No one calls him that, but I'm going to call him.
That's a good one. I like that.
He's a very poised, proficient bowler, as Jaden Cox tries to answer here in the 9th frame.
I think this is going to be some redemption for Dave. He's going to really want this one. Just didn't pick up again in that spot.
Same leave as well with the 2-8. Opportunity here for Raylan Almberg. And he doesn't have the rub of the green either.
Still a good shot there. At least this is more makeable.
Yep.
And especially sitting on 2 strikes here for Jaden's position, you definitely want to make sure of 2. Still get the ball into your anchor bowler's hands.
Yeah, do what you can as he picks up the sleeper.
Heck of a try.
And almost knocked over the 10 pin.
That was pretty good.
That would have been something else. Teammates acknowledging the effort. I just love how much that ball matches his jersey. Raylan Alberg does what he does and picks up the spare. So the score is 153 to 150 as Christensen and DeVries square off in the anchor leg here in game 2.
Yep, this is a must-strike situation.
Not quite enough as...
It was a little high.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the 4-pin left standing here in this game.
It seems right now that that right lane number 6, it's if you don't quite get it enough to the gutter, it doesn't want to change direction, doesn't want to hook in the right spot, but yet if you get it too close to the gutter, it just overhooks.
Christensen, tried to deliver in the clutch, but he left the 2-pin standing. Switch balls here for the second roll. Are bowlers a superstitious lot, John?
I think I'd have to say about 50-50.
Okay.
I mean, some of them have superstitions, some of them don't. Me personally, I do have one. In my very first, when I started a in league or tournament, whatever it is, my very first frame, I'm left-handed, so my nemesis pin is a 7-pin. If I leave the 7-pin my first frame and then I miss it, it's that's my superstition. So I get a couple of butterflies flying around and I leave that pin in the very first ball of my tournament or league.
172 to 160, both young men picked up their spares. Now DeVries in a must-strike situation again.
Yes. Yeah, he switched balls
and
there.
He gets the
there
luck as the 10-pin knocked over by the 5-pin.
Yeah, he made a ball change there. I think that was the right choice. He went to something that's going to roll a little harder, pick up the lane a little bit quicker, so that way he can get the proper read into the pocket.
Christensen, they've already clinched it, haven't they?
Yes, they have. So
Christensen
that's
adds
a win.
to the total there as he leaves the 10-pin standing. But it's a win, more than enough for Blaine They take Coon Rapids down 181 to 170. So for the second straight match, Coon Rapids goes down 2-0. But in their last match, they took the third game, battled hard in the fourth, lost by 3 pins, and then won the fifth. See the totals there. Blaine, top of the Metro North Central Conference for a reason. They were third at the Southern Fall Challenge this year, fourth at the Northern Fall Challenge last year. As, again, another strike recorded by Matt Fable to start things.
Yeah, I expect Coon Rapids to come out firing in this game.
Yeah.
They made a, looks like Coach Rob made a lineup change here. Looks like they're going to come out they're going to come out swinging this game.
Joey Lindstrom, the brother of Caleb, kisses the bowling ball. That's what made me think of the superstitions.
It's generally the bowlers nowadays, what they do is they'll blow into the thumb hole, they'll create moisture. And they help create moisture to help them actually get a grip or a good feel for the ball.
I've been told I need to get a grip as well, but it's nothing to do with bowling.
Might have a little bit of delay here. Looks like there's a dead wood out on lane 6, so a pin came outside on the gutter here, and unless he's elected to shoot at it first, but it's a bowler's choice.
Okay. Now, and so dead wood is, yep, as you see, the pin lane in the gutter.
And it is the bowler's choice if they want to shoot it or not.
What would be the advantage to not shooting it?
Not shooting it, just to have an employee come out and clear it, or the mechanic come out and clear the pin.
Because it's distracting. I mean, it doesn't affect how the ball rolls.
No, it will not. The only thing that it could happen in any term like that is if a ball traveling down the lane for an executed shot, if it touches that pin, automatically a dead ball. Even if a dead ball does not go in the gutter, it's a dead ball, and that bowler gets a 0.
Wow.
So it's kind of a responsibility. It's all the bowler's discretion if they choose to have it removed or if they want it to stay there.
Okay, well, so far Blaine doesn't seem bothered by the dead wood as Jack Place with some work to do for his spare. Opportunity here for Jaden Cox after Place left the 4, 5, and 2.
Yep, here's Coach Rob's lineup change. He's moving Jaden from 4 back to 2.
Yep. First time we've seen that tonight. Jaden Cox so far has bowled in the 4 spot. And last year, Coon Rapids was down 2-0, forced a game 5 and nearly won it against Blaine. And part of that change, if I remember correctly, was a lineup change.
Yes, it was. And just as the match sits right now and how Jaden's bowling right now, I think it's a smarter decision. I mean, Nikolai is killing it right now. He's doing awesome. And you have Gavin being solid at the bottom as well. So you definitely want to put your 2 hotter bowlers down at the bottom. Get those strikes and those quality shots when you need them.
Start building them up. Cox looks to pick up his spare and does. And Nikolai Hermasaki putting on a show for his folks back in Australia. As you see, the dead wood will be taken care of. Good job by our camera crew, including Ted LaRue and Mike Peterson.
That's probably the only real advantage to being an employee. And if you're a bowler, when you go to get dead wood, you can kick it. Those pesky pins, you know, when they won't fall as a bowler, now you get to walk down there and get to kick it.
That's gonna feel satisfying. Bagley has done pretty impressively as well here today. Leaves the 3 standing on that first roll.
He got a pretty fortunate break there to the 6 and the 10 go out, so that way it's going to be a lot less, doesn't need as much attention to make the spare.
Caleb Lindstrom. Interesting to see him not in the anchor role. He's a pretty good 3, and he collects a strike right there.
Yeah,
it's the depth of Blaine, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the main reasons why they're so good.
You got a guy like Caleb Lindstrom in the middle of that lineup. Pretty impressive as Bagley picks up the spare.
Yep, your 3-8 position, it should be a good, smooth, stable position. Just make quality shots to make sure you give your 4-9 bowler and your 5-10 bowler a good read so they can throw strikes.
Misaki, all important role here for Coon Rapids. And again,
and he's ripping racks.
A heater.
He's ripping racks.
Here Misaki lets out a war whoop as he collects another strike. Great lineup decision by Rob DeVries. And I guess, John, as a coach, you get a feeling, right? When you see the kids bowling, you kind of know who has the hot hand, don't you?
Yep. When I coach my kids, that's one thing I really pay attention to is the kids that are in the pocket getting strikes, and of course they're on point with their spares. They're going to be deeper in the lineup, and not knocking against the kids that are in the high part of the lineup, but I mean they're your starter kids. Those are the kids that are going to give you good quality shots as well, and get the ball into the hands of your guys in your 4 and your 5 spots to win your match and win your games.
And Alberg, a difficult spare to try to pick up. So right now, Rapids has a 69-63 lead as we get to the acre portion, and Gavin DeVries, he's rolling a hot ball as well.
He's getting a nice read right off of his 4-9 bowler and executing very well. They definitely, Coon Rapids is trying to put a statement here right now with this game with Blaine.
Pull out a bowling term for you here, John. I would say, based on what we've seen, Nikolai Hermasaki is throwing rocks.
He's throwing rocks and ripping racks.
Oh,
JJ answered
was
here
a
really
wonderful
nice.
thing. Yep, 89-73. And Fable back to the top of the rotation. Fable's been real good. He picks up his second straight strike.
Yep, you can hear it now from the crowd and from the parents and the kids. They're getting into this. Keep your foot on the gas and make, force your opponent's hand.
Beautifully answered, though, by Olsen for Blaine. Cameron Olsen.
We got a dogfight going right now.
Yeah, 3 straight strikes recorded, a turkey for Coon Rapids. Looking to make it a ham bone.
We haven't had one yet today, have we?
I don't think so. No, not that I've seen. So we place looking to make it 3 straight for Blaine. Trying to keep pace.
Looks like he got a little handful at the bottom there and pulled it, but pretty fortunate. Jack's got a fairly simple spare here, the 5-9.
How difficult is it, John, to have that repeatable motion?
You definitely got to learn how to handle the emotions. Because, I mean, you're amped up. I mean, in Jaden's position right now, you're sitting on a turkey. You're kind of in desperation mode to get your team a win to get back into this. So it's like you still got to keep emotions in check and still throw a quality shot. A lot of things that I teach my bowlers, high school bowlers, and some of the other kids, and even parents that I coach. Breathing is a huge tool.
Absolutely is.
Deep breaths, just relax, and don't get out of your own element.
Cox still can pick up a spare here with the 8-10 laying out there.
Good cover there by Jack.
Yeah, Jack Place does that as well. 143-121. Coon Rapids trying to stay alive here in match number 2. Down 2 games to none.
Great spare. That's a great spare.
Appreciative applause from the crowd behind us as Jaden Cox picks up the 8-10 split, picks up a spare. I love when the bowlers talk to each other too before the roll. You kind of wonder what's being said.
And that's a great thing, again, you got 5 bowlers bowling one game, so you really, to bowl that quality game, you got to talk it out,
Caleb Lindstrom does his job. So close right there for Mangle. No ham bone, but still a very makeable spare. And right now, they have had no openings right now. It's all been spares and strikes.
That's great. Just keep your foot on the gas. Keep forcing your opponent's hand.
Do you think, John, there's an advantage to bowling first or second in bowling? What's considered the better option?
It's being a team game, a lot of people have different thoughts and aspects about that, and if they if they want to put the pressure on your opponent or if they want the pressure. It's I guess it's really all a feeling of that bowler. And that's the nice thing is about high school bowling is they gotta stay within the frame. So they can't if a team has 5-6 in a row and they want to get out to a big lead, they can't necessarily do that. But for hand, I think it's all a preference on the bowler if they want to get up there and apply the pressure or if they want the pressure.
Masaki's loved the pressure, and he nearly picks up his 5th straight strike, but he leaves the 4-pin hanging out there. Tight one here, 184 to 161, but a big strike recorded there by Braylon Alberg.
Yes, that definitely sets up JJ to, he could possibly come away with a W on this one. Nothing against Gavin, but it's definitely going to make the match a little tighter.
Well, Nico does his job, picks up the spare. Always a lot easier when there's just the one pin you got to knock down. So JJ Christensen with a chance here, 185 to 161. Christensen in the anchor leg, hoping to bring it home for Blaine.
He got that shot. He got it on target.
Out there. He did.
He got it on target. What happened on that shot is what they called is missed it at the bottom. So in other words, he didn't get the lift and the rotation at the bottom of the swing to make the ball change direction. Oh, there you go.
More lucky strikes than a pack of cigarettes right there for Gavin DeVries.
And there's a saying on my team, you can't beat luck.
Gavin DeVries got some there, 205 to 185 as Christensen is able to pick up the spare.
And actually with that break, Coon Rapids shut them out. They won the game.
Okay.
So they're climbing back out of the hole.
I kind of thought that, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. So I'm glad you confirmed. DeVries,
good shot there.
Nearly made it 2 in a row. The 7, that stubborn 7-pin hanging out there. 214 to 189. Coon Rapids will pick up its first game win of match number 2. And
JJ here is going to make a ball change again. I think he's going to try that same ball he did in the last 10th frame.
So they'll stay alive. They'll still be trailing 2-1, but that ball change was effective.
That was pretty good there.
As Christensen collects the strike. 199 will be the final total for Blaine. Breeze picks up his spare, so 215 to 199, the final score. Coon Rapids in game number 3 takes it. So we move on to game number 4 with the Cardinals still alive, but trailing Blaine 2-1.
Yeah, that was a good game for them. So they definitely put their foot on the gas. They had a clean game, which is awesome. 215.
Best score of the day for them. First time they've passed 200. Their previous high was 193. So Blaine wins the first game 204 to 183. The second game 181 to 170. Coon Rapids though 215 to 199. That's the highest score we've seen any team get today. And like you said, a clean game, very important.
Yes, that is huge.
Rapids. Delay in the action as Coach Julie Saba organizes her lineup. Saba, like we said, in her 5th season. When we asked her, what do you enjoy about coaching high school bowling? She just said, I enjoy the kids, seeing the joy they have when they're doing something they love in a competitive setting. I just love giving them that chance. It's all about the kids. Capitalized kids. For emphasis. Lindstrom leaves the 7-pin out there, but
it's good.
Good start for him.
Absolutely. Yeah, it seems like that lane 6 is really becoming an issue. It's kind of the term that they're looking at right now. It's over under, so that the ball doesn't get close enough to the gutter, it just skids. and if it gets too close to the gutter, it just overhooks. So it's getting a little tricky out there for the kids.
Meanwhile, how about Anoka? Absolutely on fire. They are going to beat St. Francis 228 to 137. 228 is a heck of a team score.
That's very good.
So meanwhile, on lanes 5 and 6, Matt Fable can't pick up the spare. And we'll see if either team does any kind of lineup rotation. Caleb Olson.
Well, actually, it looks like
the strike.
We got Blaine here. Looks like they did a little bit of a line change, or lineup change.
Okay.
Looks like they went back to the lineup as games 1 and 2.
Which makes sense. I mean, 204 in game 1. I mean, nothing bad about the 199. They still put up a heck of a score. It's just Coon Rapids was a little more focused. Good start for them, though. They lead it 30-8. It was interesting seeing Jaden Cox look down.
Looked like he stuck. He went into a slide. He might have, just his balance might have been different, or he caught a little residue there on his shoe, but still got through it.
Still got the strike. Still picked up the strike.
Looks like Bagley is going to make a ball change. He's going to some a little bit weaker. And it was a good move.
It was. Second straight strike for the Cardinals. Can they force, well, I don't even want to say force a decisive game 5, because they're going to bowl a game 5.
They are.
Can they stay alive and take the match? Caleb Lindstrom. Ooh. The dreaded 7-10-9 split.
6. You were close.
6-0.
That depth perception again.
Well, that happens.
And then to make this one, he's going to have to take that 6
See, here's
pin.
the thing, John. I'm getting these things wrong, so you look like even more of a bowling expert than you already are. It's all part of the broadcast strategy. It's a little inside baseball for the folks at home. 48-38. As Nikolai Hirmosaki.
This is going to be a nice, bright, shining, great shot, I would think, from him right now. The way he's been throwing the ball today.
Yep, it's a little bit of luck. Still has the 4-2 out there. But yeah, he has. It's almost surprising not to see him throw a strike the way he's been going. And Alberg's been on fire as well, and he continues his hot form, blistering the pins.
That was a big
for a
shot.
Strike. Does anyone ever say rolling the rock? Because that seems like the thing to say in bowling.
Yep, that's it is very common to hear that.
Okay. Nikolai is rolling the rock pretty well today. Picks up the spare to give Coon Rapids a lead, 66-58. First time in game 4 for the anchor, Gavin DeVries.
Yeah,
Second team All-Stater has a chance to pick up a spare.
he got a little quick on that one. Speed was a little fast. That's right. Keep within yourself. Keep your focus. Make the spare.
Now is Brunswick, John, as J.J. Christensen takes his turn and collects a strike. Just rocking the pins. Is Brunswick the scoring system?
I believe this system, yes, is the Brunswick scoring system.
Okay, because growing up in Glen Ellen, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, Brunswick Bowl was the name of our bowling. So,
Interesting.
yeah, little factoid as
I like those.
DeVries picks that one up. So I just kind of made that connection, right? Jack Place takes his place, shines up that right pick ball. I would love to see some of these young bowlers, blow on their fingers like Western gunslinger style before they bowl too. Oh,
there's a shot.
A little bit of a luck to knock down the 7, but that strike counts just the same. As Fable tries to answer, and he can't quite get it. The 10 pin hanging out there.
Messenger went right in front of it. That was a good quality shot, though. Gotta stay with it. Gotta make this spare.
Yep.
Keep your team in it.
Yeah, important spare coming up as Blaine has a turkey going right now. Fable does it.
Good focus, good concentration.
3 straight spares following 2 straight strikes for Coon Rapids. And just kind of keeping pace with the Bengals, trying to stay alive in this match.
He could really put some heat here on Coon Rapids if he gets this one.
Yeah, he does. Our first ham bone of the day.
We got a ham bone.
We got a ham bone.
We got one.
Call up Hormel, we've got a ham bone. Jaden Cox, the picture of focus as he tries to answer. And does
Good
a
shot.
much-needed strike
Got
for
it.
Jaden Cox. Jaden
Keep
Cox,
it going.
incidentally, also the name of a gold medal Olympic wrestler that I know.
Really?
Yes, wrestled at Missouri.
Okay.
Was a multiple-time All-American and became an Olympic gold medalist.
Uh-oh.
The last game is.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
What happened there?
We, as Matt Bagley went up to bowl here, there was so many balls on the ball return that one had kind of spit out and hit the approach just as Matt was in his delivery, and that big thump might have cost him his concentration there, which is an unfortunate break.
Yeah.
The way he turned around, he was kind of disgusted of what happened. It's an unfortunate break.
The 10 pin's still out there. He still managed to put a good effort forward. Caleb Lindstrom, though, gets that 8 pin to fall. Another strike. He's pulled 3 straight strikes.
He got a Yahtzee now.
Higley.
Good spare.
And it's just to pick up the spare. I've never heard of that happening. Yeah, Yahtzee, 5 straight strikes. Okay. Learning something new. 168 to 143. Blaine really hot in this game.
Yeah, they're rolling pretty well here. It's
not quite a clean 5 straight strikes and 6 of the last 7 frames with a strike. Not quite a clean game, but pretty close. Rasaki, another strike.
He's got a hot hand today, which is great.
Sure does. Good sportsmanship from Braden Allberg there. Rapids, 4 strikes of their own. Just a couple spares, maybe the difference. So Allberg tries to make it 6 straight, and he does.
We got kids bowling here, but they do call that a 6-pack.
well, that's referring to abs, right?
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's what it is. Throwing rocks here. That's what Blaine's doing right now. Rapids with an uphill climb, 198 to 163, and that's nothing to do with how the Cardinals are bowling. That's everything to do with how Blaine.
Yeah, Blaine's been bowling great. Every ball's been in the pocket. Great quality shots. Nothing bad at Coon Rapids. They're doing what they can to stay in the game. Blaine's got a hot hand right now.
What's 7 straight strikes?
We'll call that a 7-bag.
Lucky number 7 right there as Christensen gesturing to his teammates celebrating. This will be the high team score of the day. DeVries manages to pick up his spare, but it's not nearly going to be enough. 7 straight strikes for Blaine. They're going to win this one going away and take the match in the process.
Yeah, they hit the button on the cruise control. They're just cruising on by.
But you know they know that he wants to pick up 2 more strikes if he can help it.
Yes.
Throwing rocks indeed. That's
And he
another
chips the
strike.
4. 8-bagger.
Yep. Blaine kids loving it right now.
That's a great shot.
Good response though from DeVries. Try to keep that team average up. So
another solid game. I mean, 193 is a very good game.
Not at all. Yeah, absolutely. And yet it's not going to be nearly enough. Blaine with 248. I don't think I've ever seen 7 straight strikes. We'll call this the magic 8 ball if they can make it 8.
Actually,
and they can.
For 9. 9-bagger. That is a 9-bagger.
So they already had the magic 8 ball. We'll think of what the 9 straight should be. But Blaine wins going away, and they take the match. Still have game number 5 left. But Blaine, how about that? 258 to 193. 9 straight strikes on lane number 5 for the Bengals. Coon Rapids fall to 0-2 in these matches, but again, they, you look at their scores, 183, 170, 215 though, and 193. So they've put up some good numbers, but they just ran into a buzzsaw here with Blaine.
They definitely
in game number 4. So the 5th and final game, with the match already decided, starts off with Fable leaving the 3-pin. Blaine putting on a bowling clinic as Lindstrom. Watch Fable. Can't finish the spare there. See if the lineup shuffles. I don't know why you change a thing after the Bengals, unless you wanted to get a kid another turn.
Looks like actually just been handed the sheet here. The Blaine is going to keep the same lineup. They're not changing a thing.
258. Why would you change a thing?
I'm on the same page as you are on that one.
9 straight strikes dating back to game number 4. Bengals demonstrating why they're now 10-2 after defeating Spring Lake Park and winning this game against the match against Coon Rapids in game number 5. Joey Lindstrom can't make it 10 in a row. So the 9 straight. I'd have a hard time believing that'll be matched today.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome to see.
Impressive showing as Lindstrom switches to a white rock.
And just a note for the people that are watching, usually on the second ball, if the kids right-handers, if they leave that 10-pin, the one in the right corner, what they do is they actually switch, or in this case, the spare on the left side here, they switch to a plastic ball. In other words, the cover of the ball is resisting the lane, so that way the ball, as it goes down the lane, it's going to not hook it. Pretty much very, very minimal, so that way they're relying on the ability to throw the ball straight right at the pin to take the lane play, or to take the lane out of play. So just in a straight line, just to pick up the spare. So it's very common for these kids to switch to a spare ball, and even the modern game as well. Spare balls are very, very common.
Okay. James Cox in the 2-hole again. Another strike. He's looked really good recently.
Hopefully he can get a spark to his teammates here. Still finish in style.
You know, we had each of these kids fill out questionnaires going into this game. Coach DeVries super helpful with supplying information. And notice that for the Cardinals, every single kid said their favorite professional bowler was Jason Belmonte. So
yeah, he's that.
I don't know anything about him, but
he's quite the icon. He's actually a lot of people are saying that he was a bowler that revolutionized the game to make it two-handed, because Jason Belmonte is a two-handed bowler, thumbless.
Okay. Just like Olsen right here.
Exactly. And saying that he's flat out good is an understatement.
Well, I would hope
he's pretty awesome. And he's from Australia.
Oh, nice.
That's a great shot there. Good release.
Great shot indeed by Matt Fagel. Bagley's strike makes it 2 straight for the Cardinals, who won the last game against Andover 185-166, and I think they'd love to, even though the match has been decided, they'd love to get a game back against Blaine.
I agree.
Caleb Lindstrom continues his hot hand.
He's been throwing the ball very well today.
Yeah. Sure has. Just so nonchalant about that, throwing rocks as he is. Speaking of throwing rocks, this guy has as well, Nikolai.
We got ourselves a turkey.
Gobble, gobble.
I think we know what that
It's
sets.
Thanksgiving here in Coon Rapids.
It is.
Raylan Alberg with some meat on the bone. You're at Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. Bill Hupp, Irondale head coach, and Twin Cities Bowling Hall of Famer John Cryer. Although he's heard enough of your 2.5 Men jokes to last a lifetime.
I love that show, so I'm all for it.
John Cryer's not half the actor is not half the bowler you are. You're the bowling John Cryer. As Alberg picks up his spare.
It's probably the only thing I got over him.
You're also probably a little taller than he is too.
I'll take it.
I don't know how much bowling pays for coaching though, but he may have a little more money than you. Just maybe.
A little bit.
It's syndication. That's what it is. JJ Christensen.
Great shot there by JJ.
Gets throwing rocks. JJ Christensen, the MOP of the Metro North Central Conference.
He's showing why he is number one right now in his conference.
He's disappointed by that miss. First time today we haven't seen him pick up a spare or a strike.
Or he had that split that first match.
Yeah.
That really goofy one. That
Maybe split.
Yes.
I don't even remember if it was a baby split. It's the only split reference I can think of off the top of my head. So
we're going with. I think we're going with it.
No one's gonna check the replay. It's Jack Place. Place is a good name for a bowler, I feel like. Nice job there by Matt Fable, the senior. 3 seniors, a junior, and a sophomore in the Coon Rapids rotation today. And I have to assume that based on the depth and popularity of the program, that the JV team's probably pretty good for Rob DeBreeze as well.
Yeah, he's been a tremendous coach. He really spends as much time as he can with all his kids.
Yeah, he
giving
seems
tips, coaches.
Super devoted to his kids. As Place picks up his spare. DeBreeze, the long time. Hey, he's such a bowling advocate as well. Such a champion for the sport.
He is, yes. We bowled in the league for many, many, many years over at the Mermaid in Mounds View. I've had the liberty of knowing Rob for about 20 years now. Just an unbelievably awesome gentleman.
Oh, Jaden Cox, the dreaded 7-10 split.
This is the ultimate splits of bowling here. Why not? Let's see him end his day on a pickup. Let's see him pick this up.
That would be tremendous. Or will it be a washout? As I continue to...
This one would be a split.
Well, if he leaves the 7 or the 10 standing, hopefully he can pick up the split, but it's always difficult. And he leaves both standing. 122 to 119 our score as we enter the home stretch of game number 5. Blaine has taken 3 of the first 4 games. Thanks to guys like this, Caleb Lindstrom.
Solid shot again.
Another solid strike. He's had 4 straight strikes, has Lindstrom. I'd be remiss, John, before we go, if I didn't ask you how your team's doing this year. How are the Knights?
We're doing good. We're kind of in a rebuild mode. We lost 4 seniors on the team last year, so this year it's been going well. Right now our record is 7-1. I believe our team average is right around 170 in our conference. We're leading our conference right now by 2 matches, 7-1. I guess our second place is 5-3. But I got some great up-and-coming kids that are overperforming my expectations that I figured from them.
So the best is yet to come, huh?
I think so.
Okay, great.
And I got my anchor bowler this year. He's a sophomore, and I don't think I've ever met a kid that loves to bowl more than this kid.
Yeah.
If he could live in a bowling center, I think he would.
But he drag him off the lanes, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, we got our match tomorrow at Flaherty's out in Arden Hills. So we'll see if we can keep on the winning streak.
Get the pizza there. It's real good.
Oh, you are not kidding about that.
After you recommended it, as Braden Alberg picks up another strike. After last year, if you recommended it, I've been there 3 times since, bowled and eaten pizza, and it is tremendous.
Now that you got me on the subject, I think I'm going to have to bring one home after my match tomorrow.
Why not, right? Nico Hirmasaki, the sophomore, continues his terrific rolling. 141, 169 to 141. Evan DeVries anchoring, and
Nice
Andy
mixer.
got a nice one with the strike. Scored is a little lower in this game. They really put their foot on the gas in game 4. J.J. Christensen answers with a strike of his own.
And a ham bone.
Ham bone for Blaine. It's amazing what they can do in that back half, that second rotation in a game. It really puts the pressure on the opponent.
And that's a great aspect to have, especially as a 5-man Baker team, when you can stay stable, quality shots in the front, and then you're able to put together, some type of string of strikes in the back. It can that can really get into your opponent's mind and make them press a little harder when you can be that solid like that.
What's 5 straight again?
We'll call it a Yahtzee.
Yahtzee for J.J. Christensen. Just as I said, their score wasn't all that impressive. Up to 219. Blaine's like a really good, it's like a marathon runner with a really good finishing kick.
Yes.
This bowling team. 71 will be the finishing score for Coon Rapids. Blaine's not going to hit 258, but nonetheless, very impressive. They look to make it 6 straight. One pen hanging out there, J.J. Christensen. But that's plenty for Blaine to take the 5th game, 228 to 171, and take the match 4-1. As you see the final scores there, Blaine just getting better and better, 258 and 228 to finish it between these two Metro North Central Conference rivals. So, John, thanks again for joining us.
Well,
Second annual bowling broadcast, and we hope to do it again in the future.
Thank you very much, Bill, for having me on. I had a blast.
Yeah, we did as well. As you take a look at upcoming coverage tonight, I'll be doing sidelines for Blaine, Coon Rapids, Joe and Howie up in the booth. And then final regular season game on the road at Farmington a week from today. I'd like to thank Director Neil Hennon and my broadcast partner, John Cryer, the Hall of Famer and Irondale head coach. For everyone in our terrific CTN crew, I'm Bill Hupp saying good afternoon from Classic Bowl in Coon Rapids. Cardinals fall to Andover 3-2, and to Blaine 4-1. Thanks for watching this exclusive presentation of Coon Rapids High School Athletics on CTN.